Hey.
There it is.
There we are. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today in the UnderClocked Podcast. Today, with us is a very special guest to my left.
Yep.
Joining us today is Reaver. Say hello.
Hi.
He's from the ArmaNet Podcast, and he graced our small little thing with his presence. To the left of him is whatever, it's Viking, the other co-host. You know, he's here too, I guess.
That
Say
guy's
hello.
here.
Hey.
And as always, unfortunately, I am also here. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. And we're going to start right away with, actually, we're going to start with this, because Viking has been on upside down mode for real this time, and I haven't really talked to you or played anything with you in like a week. So how you doing, dude?
Oh, good, mate, good. Yeah, we haven't been around in fucking ages. We tried to get you in with Sea of Thieves with Reaver, because Reaver joined me last time, and his wife joined us. But Cooper was like, nah, fuck you all.
Wasn't I at Comic-Con?
Yeah, you were at Comic-Con.
You were.
I was.
Which makes complete sense.
Yeah, so that's for anybody who was like, hey, why didn't you have a one last week? It was because I was at Comic-Con. They were playing Sea of Thieves.
He was being a
I was at
furry.
Comic-Con. Dude,
Yeah.
We saw a whole bunch of, there was like a troop of furries that were there. And it was weird because they weren't everywhere, but there was like probably like 8 to 10 of them, but they were all together. And one of our buddies, like a couple days beforehand, we were talking about furries, and he had never heard of the concept before. So we were trying to explain what a furry was. So while we were there, we just like that right there. That's what we were talking about 2 days ago. And he's like, well, that doesn't seem that bad. And we're like, yeah, but now imagine them fucking. That is what I'm trying to explain.
Imagine them frolicking in a field.
Yeah.
It just
and
reminds me of fucking Rainforest, if you remember that.
Oh God. It's hard to explain to somebody. I don't think I've ever met anybody that doesn't know what a furry is, but it's really hard. I can imagine it's hard to explain to
Well,
them.
that's weird. Like, you know, they dress up as like dogs and stuff, and they're like, oh, so it's like a kind of like a cutesy thing. We're like, no, it's super sexual. Like, it's not like that.
They're a dog, but their dick's out.
It's not like Halloween on the dog. It's like I'm in a dungeon dog kind of thing. Like,
This
it's
isn't
not quite
all
the same.
dogs go to heaven. This is Cujo
Yeah.
with sex. It's bad.
So that's where I was. That's what I was doing. That was why we didn't have a podcast last time, is because I was locked in some dungeon with a bunch of furries. And so they were playing Sea of Thieves without me. Whatever, it's cool. Whatever.
Well, I still have it. My wife loves playing the game, so I mean, it's not like it's the last time it'll ever happen.
Yeah, no, we're never playing Sea of Thieves again. Ever again. That was it.
Damn.
Well,
but since we are joined by Reaver, I think we can kind of just jump right into you and ArmaNet. I think we can. It's a good, bountiful topic we can jump into.
Yeah.
Mr. Vike, do you have any things you want to start with?
yeah, so a good question would be if you'd like to explain what you guys, like us, we talk about games, but you guys talk mainly about what's happening with Arma. Not just like with the game, but with the community as well. And you find like people, and your Discord is great for that. If you ever need to, go to their Discord and find out. Our very own Farsight is actually a mod on there. And he'll tell you to fuck off if you're being naughty.
In the future, this is for future people. If you're watching this on YouTube later, I'm gonna put a link to their Discord in the bottom. Is that cool? Should I be doing that?
Yeah. No,
Okay. So I'm gonna
up to
put
you
a link
guys.
to their Discord in the description down below if you're watching this on YouTube after this is live.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, if you'd like to explain more on like what you guys talk about and like what you guys do.
Yeah, I guess to talk about what we do, oddly enough, I have to tell you kind of how everything started for Dagger and myself. Him and I have been playing the games together for, what year is it, 2019? 16 years? 17 years now?
Shit.
We started on Ghost Recon events. Ghost Recon 2 Summit Strike, I apologize. And found that him and I were very similar in the way we approach games and the tactical way we like to play games. And so we kind of played together ever since. I mean, it's like we fell in with each other and then we were best friends within a month.
Right.
And over the years, we have tried to do podcasts. We did Game Rage Radio, which is a very old podcast. And then after that, we did another one. I can't remember the name of it. And then we did a World of Warcraft podcast because that's what we were playing at the time.
Nice. That would have been interesting.
It was okay. We talked a lot about lore, and in a field of literally hundreds of podcasts, it's impossible to be popular, so to speak.
Right.
But, Dagger and I started playing Arma, and he had been telling me for years, this is the game. And this was back when Operation Flashpoint first came out. He said, awesome. This is what we've been looking for. He said, there's some improvements that can be made, but this is the game that we've been looking for that's just all-encompassing, tactical, and enjoyable. So I get out of the military. I get a PC.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you. My wife and I both served, and we loved it.
That's coming from a different country, though, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, but still, it's service is service, and he signed up. And
in any country.
I'm just messing.
But I got a PC, I got Arma, I started playing, and I was like, dude, this is it. And it was actually 2015, Dagger and I started talking about doing this podcast. We had attempts at podcasts in the past, and so we were like, we want to do it, but when we discussed, we said, we don't just want to talk about the game. We're going to run out of stuff to talk about. There's an entire community here that can be highlighted. People like Spartak, people like 111 SOG. So that's what we decided to do. And our goal in the first year, by the end of the first year, was to talk to somebody from Bohemia Interactive. And 6 months later, we had already passed that goal.
Right.
I was hoping for 500 listeners, downloads within the first 3 years, and we destroyed that goal. And so we realized that our highlighting of the community, and that's our main goal. If we keep that our goal, our podcast can be successful, but it was dependent on us playing the game as well, because we can't do a podcast if we're not in the community. But we were pulling in people from Community Upgrade Project, Unsung, Farsight that said there will be flying. By the way, we were interviewing people like Al Warren and his twin brother. And just great interviews with these people that we've unfortunately since lost. But we found a beautiful little symmetry of interviewing the community for the community, and highlighting not just these mod makers, but also this group of mission makers and units that are looking for people, or just looking to kind of tell people what they're doing to see if anybody wanted to join. And it really worked for us. And we love doing it. We're actually hoping to have a unit on soon for another episode. But yeah, we found this just beautiful little symmetry of always highlighting the community rather than highlighting just the game itself, because the game, and even Bohemia will tell you, the game is just the starting point, and without the community, the game wouldn't be what it is today. And here it is 6 years later, and it's still being supported and still super popular, and it's the community that does that.
Yeah, and I feel like the biggest part of the community is the modding side of things. If it wasn't for the modding, I don't think the game would have lasted that as long as it has.
For sure.
And that's what most games do miss. But if I had to ask, out of the modding area, what would be the favorite mod that you like to run in Arma 3?
See, this is a loaded question. Shit.
There's a lot of mods there.
There's so many. For me personally, considering what I do in the game, considering all the detail that I've messed with this one mod, in all honesty, I'd have to say Ace.
It's a big
Ace
one.
3, it's huge. It does so much. The medical side of things. When we first started for our group building this mod pack, my job was to test medical in Ace, and I've learned sniping on Ace. I'm actually creating a sniper kind of handbook for Ace 3 because I found there are communities that don't know how to use the Ace 3 advanced ballistics, and they just don't go through it. So I'm creating a handbook for that for them, and a training for it as well. So
That's awesome, and it's good that like people like that know these things actually do help. And I found that our good friend Farside has found that the bad side of the community, where people don't want to help, mainly because they don't know how to fix it. But I've only rant a lot about it. And like there is the downside of the community and there's good sides of the community, and I like to focus on the good side.
Yep.
But it's not just Arma that you guys like to play, and I've noticed that a lot. And like we said, you played Sea of Thieves with me. But if you had to pick another game that you would rather play when no one else is around, like say no one's on the 11th SOG, and there's no one you can get in touch with to play, what do you actually go to?
Gun against your head, you're forced never to play Arma again. What do you go to?
That is a...
So just like, you're chilling, there's nothing else to do, you don't have anything to edit, there's no one online.
It's dependent. If I'm looking for a little bit of nostalgia, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain.
That game is so good.
If you can't see it.
Holy shit, that's sick.
I got that, and Vivictus is written above it. When I was young, I started playing that game. I'm going to toot my horn a little bit, but I was one of the first people to figure out a section of that game at the time that required you to actually take and decipher translate a tablet that was in a non-language. Me and a friend of mine spent like 6 hours literally staring at this tablet, writing it down, figured out how to actually do the spell, and it was to get the lightning spell. I loved that game. I still love that game. My YouTube has a walkthrough of the game. I own all of the Blood Omen and all of the Legacy of Kain games. So if I'm looking for nostalgia, I'd say Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. But if I'm looking for a more recent game, I guess it would probably be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, that game's also really good.
The story on that is amazing. I still haven't finished it, but so far it's just an amazing story.
So we now know not to talk about Red Dead 2. Because
No. I already know how it ends, and I don't care about spoilers for stuff like that. I get curious myself, so I read.
That was really good, and if you haven't played it, I recommend playing it.
For sure.
I know a few people like just waiting for it to come to PC. If you're waiting for that, definitely just wait. Otherwise,
yeah. And I'm oddly waiting for it to come to PC and to come to 5M for the RP side of things.
Yeah, that'd be.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, GTA 5 is already on there. You got to imagine eventually it's gonna be on.
Well, especially with like the open
2.
world and like the living world and all of the even like the NPCs are so alive.
Yeah.
That was something I really liked about the game itself. Is like everything is interactable. It feels alive. You could just stand there and shit happens.
It's insane. I mean, this guy followed a single person or like a group of 5 people around for a day, and I mean, they go about lives. They live, they eat, they sleep, they get drunk, they work.
Yep.
It's amazing to see the detail that gets put into stuff like that, and that's really what makes me love that game so much. Is that there's this just immersion into that side of the game that in the background.
Well, and that's like I think with GTA 5 that was a big thing too, right? Like they had like this whole open living world, but it was like you were plugged into a living world. Whereas with Red Dead, the living world is all everything. Like it's not like the world and then you're inside of it. It's all one. You're part of that aliveness.
Exactly.
So you get to the Red Dead Online and then you are put into it, And the community that I've played that game so many times online, and just people are just fucking.
I have too.
Yeah, they're assholes, man.
And they built a lot of stuff to help.
Yeah.
With that, but I mean, it's not prime time ready, and it's still in beta.
Right?
Yeah, it's still in beta, so it's not prime time ready, and they know that. They're about to add poker if they haven't already, which I want to play, but I want it to come to PC. I want to have it on PC and get that RP side of things in there, because that's what I love.
Once
is just
5M gets
RP.
a hold of it, that game is just gonna blow up. It's going to be like all the people that are playing 5M on GTA at the moment are just going to take over that game. I don't know if it will last that long, because they might have to add a lot of stuff. Like, I think the GTA is going to last a bit longer rather than Red Dead, because I feel like there's not as much you can add into the game as you're gonna have
like
you can't really
two sections. You're gonna have your people who love the new stuff and they want to blow shit up and they wanna just kill, and then you're gonna have and your RP lovers in that vein of things, and then you're gonna have your RP lovers for 5M at least, for Red Dead 2, and it's not gonna be as much just going around and blowing shit up, because you can't blow stuff up as much. So
you're not even going to be able to. If you played as a cop, it's going to be the hardest time of your life on Red Dead. You can't just run. You can't ride up behind someone and just blow your siren and pull people over.
But see, that's the beautiful thing about the intricacy of Red Dead. I think instead of having cops, you would have to have marshals. And their job's not to keep the peace so much as to bring justice to those who have broken that peace.
Right.
There's a lot of RP potential there. I played quite a bit of GTA Online RP on 5M, and once I saw Red Dead 2, I saw the potential that it has, and I'm like, I'm excited about it, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of other games out there too. There's because like we said before, there's the new Ghost Recon coming out.
Yes.
First, before we move on to that, just because you brought up Legacy of Kain, I vaguely remember in the very recent past hearing a rumor that they were going to either remake it or they were starting to make a new one.
So they had a Nosgoth themed online multiplayer game, like a MMO.
Right.
It was not successful. It just wasn't Legacy of Kain. I do hope that they remake it, but in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be good if they don't get Simon Templeton, I think is his last name. It's either Templeman or Templeton. Jesus, why don't I know that? Anyway.
Call yourself a fan.
I know, right? Here I am, Simon Temple. Anyway, if they don't get him, Templeman, if they don't get him to play Kain, it's not going to be any good, because his voice is Kain. In anybody who is even a distant fan, if they hear the voice, they're going to be like, it doesn't sound right.
And I agree to an extent, but I would. For the devil's advocate, I could combat that by saying the same thing about Metal Gear Solid.
No, you're right. I was just thinking about that too.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is an amazing game. The voice was different, and because it was Kiefer Sutherland, and I was like, well, that's stupid. Like, why would you fucking do that? But the game was great anyways.
Yeah. It was. I would say I would if anybody gave a damn about my input, I would have a couple of inputs for potential voice actors that I would love to hear playing that, but it's probably because I'm a Critical Role fan, and most of them play on Critical Role. So,
but it wasn't the multiplayer thing. It was actually I heard, because they've been going back and remaking a whole bunch of these PlayStation games, and I was trying to Google it while you were talking about it, and I couldn't find anything. But I remember seeing something on Instagram where there were rumors that because they're remaking what's that game called? Abe's Odyssey or Abe's... They're remaking that, and at the same time when I heard that, I heard that they were going to be not rebooting, but like remaking the entire Legacy of Kain trilogy.
I'm for it. The story for that is just...
It's phenomenal.
Amazing. And I think if they, they tell Kane's story, Raziel's story, and then go back and go through Defiance. I'd really love to see them go past Defiance and kind of continue that story, but unfortunately, in the later years, the game wasn't as popular, and there were other games out that were getting way more popular. So,
but remakes are making games come back. I don't know if you noticed that. Like when Resident Evil 2 remake came out, a lot of people started playing the old version of Resident Evil.
Yep.
Like,
and not just nostalgia. He's making another point there. It's not just for nostalgia's sake for somebody. I know you guys are younger than I am. I'm kind of getting to be an old man. I got some gray here, but I'm 35 years old, and my kids aren't gonna know half the games that I did. But the remake is going to make it possible. Like, my kid's not going to want to play the original Resident Evil 2.
They're going to want to play the remake of it.
Yeah, but they'll play the remake of it.
Yeah.
Or like Crash Bandicoot or whatever.
Crash Bandicoot, Final Fantasy 7.
I'm so stoked for that.
My kid's going to be such a dork.
Well, we got to watch that too. We got to watch that too, actually.
Have they done anything new with that one, by the way?
They just came out with a trailer for it like a couple days ago. We're going to watch it. You haven't seen it?
No.
Okay, perfect.
No.
We'll watch that.
We'll add it to our little video thing that we watched together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, I'll find it for you here.
Yeah.
While you continue on.
Hey, little one.
Sorry.
Remakes are definitely making a comeback. And like I said, Resident Evil 2 is the biggest remake that I've seen come out so far.
And it's not just games; they're doing it with movies.
There's some
of course,
movies
the movie industry is just.
They're running out of fucking ideas. Like, there's only so many things you can do.
And like, I don't even want to get into it, but I'm so glad they're remaking the Sonic fucking character.
Are you actually?
You're happy they're doing a movie for Sonic?
No, I'm not happy they're doing a remake. They're doing a movie for Sonic. I'm saying I'm happy that they're remaking the model they used for the Sonic movie.
Oh, so they are fixing
it. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking,
fucking terrifying.
That movie was nearly complete. That movie was nearly finished. So now they've got to go. The art designers have to go back and redo every single shot.
Have you noticed that that's becoming a big trend? Sorry, I'm a big movie buff too. Have you noticed that's a big trend in Hollywood these days, where they get a movie just about complete, and then they screen it, and the community, once the community gets their eyes on it, they're like, "This is shit."
Yeah.
And then they're having to go back and do reshoots last minute, and it's making for if a movie gets reshot. I've noticed if there are reshoots that have to be done, they have to speed them up so quick. They have to do them so fast.
Quality
in all
drops.
honesty, it's like, not as good a movie.
They want. There's a petition going out which is never going to go past. They want people to remake the Game of Thrones season 8. We won't talk about it because there is a lot of spoilers for people that haven't seen it yet. But there's a petition. It's got like over 700,000 people signed it already. It's probably up to 1 million now. That they want them to remake season 8 because it's so terrible.
If they wanted it to be perfect, then they should have waited for George R.R. Martin to take 10 years to write it. By the way, I'm not a big fan of G.R.R. Martin. I'm not a big fan of the way he changed his name to sound like Tolkien.
I've never seen a full episode of Game of Thrones, so
I've seen 2 in the first season, and that's only because I got to see that girl naked. So.
If you continue watching, you get to see her many times.
Once is enough.
But like, it's not.
You need to see boobs. There's porn on the internet, man. I don't need to watch a bunch of plot around it first. Yeah.
But like, Game of Thrones is a good season. We won't go too far into it because you guys obviously haven't seen it as much as I have. I've actually watched every single episode up to date.
And
I watched the last episode because everyone was complaining about it, and I want to know what everyone was freaking out about. And from a completely third party, like, I don't give a fuck about any of these characters. From a cinematic point of view, it's done poor. Like, it's just the pacing is weird. I know how these characters are supposed to be. Like, I know the books, like how the characters are supposed to be, and I'm like, why would this happen? This is not, like, you know what I mean? Like, from a third party perspective, I could see why people were mad.
Yeah. And like, a lot of the characters, like, they had 7 seasons of character creation, and then season 8 they're still trying to develop characters. It's like you've got 1 episode left. One.
And you could have developed some of the things that we're seeing. I've heard about it. My in-laws are very big fans of it.
Impossible to avoid.
Yeah, it's impossible. But the development that they did in this one, they could have at least put hints of in the last 7 seasons. Yeah. And it's literally like
they try to throw
all of a sudden. Yeah, it's like, all right, this person is just a wonderful person. They've got a lot of tough decisions to make, but they always make the right decision morally. And then it's like, no, fuck morals, we're done.
Yeah. And the only person
I know exactly what you're referencing.
The only person that I've seen continue that through this season is the main character, like one of the main characters, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And if you have seen it, he's like morally correct through the whole entire show.
Yep.
Like he's always choosing the good side, and like he's all like, I'll devote myself to this person, but then that person goes off the rails, and he's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
and even in that episode that was, again, from a third party perspective, kind of shit, he was the kind of only redeeming part because he's still stuck by that. And
then the other redeeming part was Arya in that episode as well. If you haven't noticed, throughout the seasons, she goes from being a person to like being a machine who doesn't have any feelings to this episode going, oh fuck, I'm actually scared to die. Like,
but from a story actually, you know what? Let's not get into it.
Let's not too far into it.
There's so much we could talk about there.
No, let's not do that. And this is the episode that came out like less than a week ago. Like, let's not talk about this.
Tomorrow night is the last episode that comes.
Is it really the finale?
Yeah, it's the last complete episode. You find out what the fuck happens. I'm happy that they've got longer times on them, but they could have just spent more time doing shit. Like,
I think they rushed it.
Yeah, like there was an episode that came out. It was called The Long Night, in the recent season, and it's okay, but it was really dark, and I noticed a lot of people complaining about that. And this dude on YouTube went along and grabbed a certain scene, the darkest scene in the movie, with so much CGI in it, and he brightened it all up. And when you watch it there, you can see how much work they actually put into it, compared to how dark it was that you can barely see the CGI work. But when
they said something like that's the big fight scene, right?
Yeah, that's the big one.
Right. So that scene, and this isn't really a spoiler because it's not technically about the story, but that CGI scene was the most expensive CGI fight in any film history, not movies, but film of a television series.
And they wasted it. They wasted it because they made it so dark you can't see all
shit.
The details. There was a part in that scene where there is a lot of CGI work. There's just people standing there, and in front of them is all this CGI work, and you can't see it until like it's right in front of your face.
That's a shame.
Yeah, and like you
gotta wonder what the director was thinking.
I get that it's the long night.
That's what they were thinking.
Well, but the cinematographer alone, even money, they're going, look, we are getting some really great shots, and then we're just throwing it. They're throwing money down the drain. Yeah, they're getting money, but they're like, hey,
not enough to support the fact.
Yeah, I doubt it.
A big question, a huge question to that is: do you think they darkened it for effect afterwards, or was actually that dark when it was filmed?
I don't think it was that dark when it filmed, because if you watch...
That's what I'm thinking too. Like, do you think they darkened it to the point of
if you watch,
muddling their own thing?
This is why they compared this episode to Helm's Deep, because of how dark Helm's Deep was. Like, you watch Helm's Deep, and it was filmed over 120 days?
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of that was in darkness during nighttime. And then this one was filmed in 55 nights, only at nighttime. I doubt it was that dark throughout the whole entire time.
Nah.
That's probably another reason why they darkened it too, is because you have different moonlighting each night. So they probably darkened it so you can't really tell the difference in moonlighting.
Which makes sense, but true. make a uniform darkness, which is fine, but don't put it to the fucking floor. You know what I mean?
It's like, this is your darkness level in Helm's Deep, and then this is Game of Thrones. Anyway.
It's bad.
Anyways, so Ghost Recon.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. So anyway, so I'm a big fan of Wildlands. I've finished it multiple times. I've been playing with Farsight and Stillwater. I haven't played it with you yet, Coop. I know Reaver has Wildlands as well.
I do.
And they just announced not long ago. How long ago? It was like 2 weeks, maybe.
Not even, dude.
Ish, yeah.
They announced their new game
week.
coming out. I thought it was just a DLC, but it's actually a
So
new
did I.
game.
May 10th, whenever that was, 8 days ago.
They've got Breakpoint coming out. Breakpoint looks great. I watched the trailers. I watched their stream when I was at work because I was like, I'm at work. I've just noticed this. Let's watch it. And they've added so much to this game, but they also think that they maybe have gone back to their downfall in Ghost Recon, in the sense that they're going way too futuristic. When you look at all the drones and stuff.
I thought that as well, but I think they're levying that, and the only reason that is because I think. Sorry, let me make a real sentence here. I think that they've done that to make you feel more helpless, whereas the opponent has all these high tech shit and you don't.
Yeah.
So I think that was to make, because in Ghost Recon Wildlands,
you're the guys with their big heavy.
Right, exactly. Right? You got your drones. You're kind of like at the power. You're fighting the Sicarios and the fucking drug people. Whereas I think now they're like, we're a high tier organization, kind of like the guys from Division 2 at the end there. The black. Those guys. I think it's a similar sort of mindset where it's like, no, you're playing with the big dogs, but because the plot of this one, which we'll see in the trailer, is kind of like you're kind of fucked. I think to not even level the playing field, but put you under the playing field, they give them all this high tier shit. So I think it's actually going to work here. I think.
And you're up against,
an
former
old friend.
team members. Yeah. So
former ghosts.
Yeah, and
so
in Wildlands,
these guys know how you operate. They know everything.
Yeah, and in Wildlands, you meet the guy in the last update. They added missions for it, and you meet him and you get to play with him. And I haven't played it yet, so I can't really talk on it. But apparently, it's not that bad. And I get that. I don't know. I'm a little bit iffy because I'll still play it. Don't get me wrong. I'm
getting it either way. I mean, we can bitch all we want, but I'm still gonna pay for it.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm just worried that they might be going away a bit too far forward in the futuristic point.
Well, I mean, Ghost Recon has really been going away from its roots for a long time.
I remember playing the first one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first one I played, which is Summit Strike, and the roots that were laid down there, instead of improving on those for the next one, they improved on them, but they added some stuff that was like, all right, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then Future Soldier came out after Graw and Graw 2, and I was like, what? This is shit.
True. But what I also believe is that, you look at Call of Duty, which did a similar thing where they went, into the future, and I think Ubisofts aren't fucking dumb, and I think they will have seen that and be like, we're not. That's why my skepticism isn't as harsh, because I feel like they can see the market is moving away from that. People want boots on the ground. So it'd be really stupid for them to do that at this point as a marketing thing.
Right. And it's not so much the futuristic for Future Soldier. Now, for Wildlands, they kind of went the opposite direction here. But if you guys remember, in Future Soldier, in Ghost Recon, Summit Strike, and Graw 2, you had objectives, but you could find your way there. You had a certain area that you had to be in, but you could find your own way there.
Yeah.
But with Future Soldier, you were in a tunnel.
It was an FPS,
and you were just following along, and that was it. And that's the main thing that I hated about Future Soldier, was that I was kind of forced to follow this one route throughout the whole thing.
But to be fair, my biggest complaint, I really like Wildlands. Some of the first, when I first started doing my YouTube channel, some of the first stuff that was when the content started rolling out more consistently are Wildlands videos. I really enjoyed the game. It was great. My biggest gripe with it is that they wanted almost the opposite of that, and they made the map so fucking huge that your objectives were a billion miles away.
Yeah, and there was just so much to do that you would get off objective and start collecting, weapon parts and weapons, and you kind of get lost in the fray. I'm lost in the fray right now. If I open up the game, I think I'm just now starting on a new section. I've only taken down 2 or 3 of the areas, Probably 2, because I think there's 5 total. And I'm just now starting to work on another one of those areas, and I'm like, good God, I've got so much work to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just as far as space, not even that, is like, even if you're doing one of those objectives where, like, one of the main ones where you kind of get locked in and you can't really do other shit, it'd be like, all right, you have to go to this mansion. It's on top of a hill. That hill is 16 kilometers away, and you're like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like,
why do I have to go
why?
that fucking
Why start
far?
me here then? What is the point?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. That was my biggest problem, is that they were really boastful about how big the map was and that you could attack any objective from any angle. I'm like, that's great, but I don't want my angle to start 35 minutes down the road.
Well, and I understand why they did it. They wanted the typical player to use everything.
Yeah.
Your helicopters, your cars, but to be honest with you, with that much driving and the way the roads are, I don't use cars. I just get in a helicopter and then I parachute and let the helicopter crash.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly what I do.
And I don't think they expected that when they built this system into it, where you're going so far.
I hate the fact that I go play Wildlands and I'll be flying, and then I go jump in Armor, and it's a completely different flying mechanic. So you're playing in Wildlands, and you can go through trees and shit. And like, you don't have to worry about it too much. And the only thing that's gonna break is your rotor. You try doing that in Armor, you're just gonna fucking blow up. And it's fucking, it's glorious, and I love doing it because I always fuck it up. And then, like, I'll start playing Wildlands again, and I'll press, like, shift to go up. And then I'm like, why am I going? And then, like...
What? I'm not going anywhere.
And then, like, I'll let go of the W key, because in Armor, you just let it go forward. In this, it just stops on a dime. It's like, oh, well, this fucking...
Sorry.
This hurts a lot.
Before we watched the trailer here, I just because you were talking about the helicopters, Vike, you weren't there, but I just want you to know that last weekend Spitfire was flying the helicopter, and when he tried to turn around, he dropped it into a fucking tree. I just want you to know that happened, and everybody was in the helicopter, and he killed literally everyone except for Stillwater. So I just want you to know, because you were not there, literally everybody died, and then Stillwater got nuked.
So what he's saying, Viking, is it's your fault that everybody died.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's
Our
saying.
real pilot wasn't
and you
there,
need to be there from now on.
We put this fuckwit in the pilot seat, and he turned he did
when,
a full.
Is it like
pivot
when Scarecrow said he could fly, that he parked it on some power lines?
Well, it was like there were a bunch of armored vehicles on the side of a hill, and we were flying right towards them. And Farsight fucking had a freak out and was like, "Oh, turn left, turn left." So we did like a complete 180, but in a helicopter, and tried to do like a complete pivot. So as we were turning, the whole helicopter started to dip down, and by the time we finished the turn, we were literally in the trees. We clipped a tree. You literally heard the rotors turned off. All I hear is like pressure, like losing pressure, and then the whole helicopter drops, and boom, everyone's dead. I was like, what the fuck?
Game over.
Yeah. And with Wildlands, I don't know if you guys have been playing it, but me and Farsight and Stillwater have been playing the permadeath one. I can't remember what it's called. But
ghost mode, I think, is actually what it's called.
And that's a lot of fun because you only get one weapon and a pistol. You don't get the 2 weapons.
Yep.
So you're stuck with whatever weapon you pick, which I'm picking as a marksman rifle. And I think Farsight and Stillwater go with the assault rifles. So I'm sitting up on hills with the sniper covering them. And that's all you get is one rifle and a pistol. And
that's the only major complaint that I have about Wildlands, by the way, is the scopes.
Yeah.
I'm a person that likes a scope that will give me 2 zoom modes, 2 modes of zoom. I'm a sniper in game, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. But I like to be able to get a close view of what I'm shooting for when I'm firing, and then kind of a more far back view to actually
like a 4 and 8 or something.
Or even a 10 and a 30.
Holy fuck, dude! What are you sniping? The moon?
I don't like. I get close, but if I have the ability to pull back to 1,500 meters away, I prefer to be that far away.
Oh, really?
So I like that zoom. I actually am a better shot from long range.
I feel like they dropped the ball on the sniping part of that game.
I really like the sniping in that game.
They've got cool sniper rifles, and
I like the rifles. I love it.
I think they more focused on people using marksman rifles, not bolt actions. Because if they were going to put like the 50 cals, you would think they would have put a better mechanic because they drop off really quickly on the bullets. And I thought maybe they had like put in like maybe a 15 times scope or 14 times scope for
12 is the highest, right?
Actions.
I think 12 is the highest, yeah.
No, I haven't seen the 12. I've only seen...
Yeah, there's a 12.
Yeah. It's you might be right, it might be a 6. I've got the best scope in the game for my SR25 and my H41, I think.
I've got
H4.
I use the M110 that you can get.
M110's good, but I actually I want to start the game right now and just see what I use, but...
No, you guys are right, it maxes out at 6. I just Googled it. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and that's one of my problems, is like, if I want to snipe, first of all, I don't want my bullet dropping, 500 feet after I shoot. It's a sniper rifle, even a marksman rifle. I should be looking at, I should be able to get 1,000 meters out and shoot at a minimum. But that's not the case here. 600 meters is really the max.
I've been finding myself sitting at 300 between 100 and 300 sometimes to compounds in that game. And I'm hoping that in Breaking Point they do fix that a lot. Like with the sniping mechanic in that game. Just because it's meant to be more harder to play this game than it is meant to be playing Wildlands. Yeah. Because they added the new injury system to that, which I thought was like absolutely brilliant, and I think a lot of games miss that. Some games do it where like if you fall from, like in Sea of Thieves, when you fall from a certain height, you break your legs, so you start limping. Yeah. But this game looks like it's got more to it than that. Like you can limp, you can get shot in the arm, and your arm becomes like numb from pain or whatever, or you might get it dislocated. And like there's a part where the guy falls down, and then he gets up and he's dragging his leg along behind him. That looks like it's so much better. And the best thing I think they've added to the game is being able to pick people up and move them. I missed that in Wildlands. I really wish it was, because you'd kill someone, then you want to move them to a place where you can't be spotted. So now in Wildlands you had to sit there and wait for them to get to a point where no one else goes and shoot them and then move on.
I think they might fix the scope thing, because when I was trying to figure out what the maximum scope was, I literally just put Wildlands scope, and there's 3 pages of why is there not a better scope. So I have a feeling they know that we're bitching.
They used a lot of like community feedback for this new.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking we might be good, but we've been talking about it a bunch. I think we should watch it now.
Let's watch it.
So we've got our watch together here, which I'll put up on the screen for us.
Got it. Yes.
And I will click play.
So sick looking.
It really is.
Does that not look like the baddies from the Ghost or from Division 2 at the end?
Yes.
Kind of does. It's a Tom Clancy game, so it makes sense.
There's also the fact that in Wildlands, I'm gonna pause this real quick.
Yeah.
Pause.
I am a ghost.
There, I paused.
Okay. In Wildlands, there's actually a new thing that they added where they talk about what happens in Washington.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have heard it. There's a radio broadcast about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's mission sets with the operators from Rainbow Six and Sam Fisher. So like it's a one shared world.
Oh yeah, it's all a shared universe for sure.
I feel like it could be potential.
It might be.
That it could be the same faction, and it does exactly look like them. Like they come in and they're these high tiered guys with actual like drones that like.
That's what it reminded me of right away when I saw it
in Division 2.
Yeah.
But before we start this, where is the next fucking Splinter Cell, and when is it going to go back to Chaos Theory?
Don't get me started, bro.
Single player co-op. Oh god.
Don't get me started.
Sorry.
I remember,
get us on
dude,
a tangent.
We got because at the time like the game was back on like PS2 or something, and I got the maps in the manual and I traced them on a piece of paper for the 2-player portion. I drew them with a Sharpie on a piece of paper. I laminated that piece of paper. Then what I'd do is we'd get like markers and we would draw our routes and shit on, because we could wipe it because of the laminate, so we would draw plans of what we wanted to do, and I miss that shit.
Yeah, I do too. You know what else I miss? Dagger and I would play. It was on Xbox 360 or Xbox. This was original Xbox, I think. When you were talking on live and you were playing Ghost Recon, or not Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. If you got too close to somebody, you had the little piece
sound bar
on your screen, and you had to talk low. You had to whisper to each other, and if you talk too loud, they'd be like, "What the fuck was that?" And they'd come at you like that.
I love that stuff in Arma. There's some stuff that does that.
Too.
Yeah.
And it does that. And I love when the Zeus controls people, and like if they hear you talking, they'll react to it.
Yep.
That's also.
I also remember.
Anyway, video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting off track again.
There we go. In the button.
Trained to strike my enemies before they know I exist. Death stalks me, but I survive. Overcoming any obstacle.
What a badass.
Never surrendering.
The main character that's in this video, the guy in the red shirt, the backless cap.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy from Dude Perfect. If you've ever seen him.
With my brothers and sisters at my side. There is no fight we fear.
I love this.
We are ghosts. We aren't afraid of death. So when you take the life of my brothers, when you provoke me, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, I will burn your world to the ground. I'm a ghost too. I would expect nothing less.
And John Bernthal's a badass.
Fucking love John Bernthal.
He does. Marketing's gonna do a great job.
Oh, I bet. We're fighting the Punisher. We're fucked.
Yeah.
We are
Dude,
fucked.
Yeah, like really.
We can't.
I've seen both seasons
Me
of
too,
The
dude.
Punisher.
We're fucked.
and
We
we're
can't
fucked.
get any better than that dude being a bad guy. Like he's just the.
Especially because he was a good guy and now he's a bad. Like that's such a perfect
Yeah,
character.
I was about to say you can get better. He could be on your team and I'd feel a lot safer. But
He was, and then
for
he.
the bad, yeah, it's true. But now, you know, when I first saw this, and you know, he pulled the bottom part of his mask off, I was like, is that John Bernthal?
Me too.
And then he pulls it off and starts talking, and I was like, oh yes, this is
I was
fucking amazing.
So happy that they picked him to play the bad guy in this.
No, it's the perfect casting, and I think he, you know, when he accepted this role, so to speak, I think he made a beautiful decision because he's coming off of being the Punisher.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole Disney Netflix issue, and so it's being canceled. And he's like, well, I've got all of this voice acting in this, and probably doing the motion capture for it as well.
Yeah, probably.
I couldn't be more happy with who they got for it.
No, me either. When I saw that, like, because I saw him in I think it was the thumbnail, which was kind of shit, but like he was kind of in something, and I'm like, oh well, is he like? In my head, he was gonna be one of our guys who was just sort of being like a character to show the trailer through. Like,
yeah,
I thought
especially
he'd be, like,
because of his face, like the look on his face in that thumbnail.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, so he's gonna be one of the characters who's like whatever. But then when the narrator starts, I was like, that's not. I know his voice really well. That's not him.
That's not it. Yep.
And then he pulls off the bottom part, and I'm like, that's him.
All right,
that's fucking
so
him.
I'm gonna totally do this. I'm gonna put it up on the stream. But this dude here, right? This guy, which is the guy from the same trailer that we just watched, doesn't he look like him?
Yeah, it does. I'm telling you, it does.
It looks so similar.
like a big buff version of him.
It's like, hey, this dude went to the gym so many times, and now he's just. This is like when he was younger. Because look, there's a scar on his face. He doesn't have the scar. This is what he did as his career before he got to.
Dude, perfect. Ghosts.
He wanted to be the perfect bro, so he joined Ghosts.
Yeah.
It's like he's been around for a while now, so his beard's gotten a bit longer.
Yeah. Now for fun, instead of throwing boomerangs, he's tossing grenades and C4 for accuracy.
He's flipping C4 and it lands in the bottom. He's like, oh!
Come on!
Oh, it's the perfect. I'm just surprised that they didn't get him to voice act the character as well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him voice acting that character?
Oh my god.
Only assholes like us
he would say,
that,
let's
though.
go too much, and I would be like, oh, come on.
Let's go!
Okay, that's the one thing about that I love Dude Perfect. I'll sit and watch their videos all day long, but that's the one thing that annoys me is they're like, let's go!
Aren't they fucking huge?
Right.
Don't they have like a billion subs?
I'm sure they do.
They're like
Got me curious now.
Yeah.
42 million?
42 million on Dude
fucking way.
Yeah, that I mean, come on. People love this stuff. The stuff that they do.
But 42 million enough?
Well, why not?
I don't know. Something like fucking cool.
It's not that fucking. Well, think about it.
It is for Cooper because he's got like 160.
Fuck you. Yes.
If you think about it though, it's not much in comparison to others that I've seen who have fucking an insane amount.
To be fair,
of followers.
To quantify though, they are in like the top 10. So like.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're massive, but I don't know. It just I understand the appeal, but there are other YouTubers that have like any of the Misfits, for example. I don't know if you know who they are, but I know Viking does. Any of them, like if you put Fitz or like Swagger at 40 million, I'd be like, that makes sense. He's fucking hilarious. Dude Perfect, I'm like, maybe 10 would make sense in my brain. They seem like over, because I watch their stuff and like I only like some of it. Some of it I think is kind of like too dude bro-y, and I don't really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess it's not a niche. I thought it'd be a niche thing that it kind of like hit like their 8 to 12 million and kind of like teeter off, but I guess it's not.
I think they're ads that they do on like Snapchat and
Instagram and shit.
Instagram and Twitter. I think that all helps them a lot. And then, they do a lot of videos that people do enjoy watching, and they end up subscribing even though they might not watch that anymore.
Right.
But if you think about it, I don't know if you've ever heard of like FGTV. It's literally just this gaming channel that this guy does with his kids, 4 kids, and I mean they've got like 11 million followers, and that's a pretty niche market. So you would think
not to sort of deflate what you just said, but I'm looking at their videos, and their videos, they come out with about a video a week. And their last video, which should hypothetically be their least viewed because it's the newest, has 17 million views.
Jesus.
The last 5 videos are 17 million, 16, 17, 19, 28 million. So
there's still
they're getting
just
views.
a lot of people watching
guess.
this. God,
That's a lot.
I don't know, man.
It's half
I
of their
don't know.
subscriber base too. So
Which
Yeah.
is 10% is the so I don't know how it works on like Twitch or with podcasts or whatever, but for YouTube the golden ratio is like 10%. So if you've got a million or like 100 subscribers, 10 views is kind of like acceptable.
Yeah.
Anything less, you're kind of like, ooh, that was shitty. Like, well, I shouldn't do that. Anything more, and it's sort of above and beyond that. For whatever reason, my channel is backwards for some reason, but that's sort of the ratio. Well, I mean, I have 160 subs, but I'll have videos with thousands of views on them, and it doesn't really make sense.
There's people watching them multiple times too.
But it's weird because you think they'd subscribe. Like I don't know. It's just like I've got like 50,000 plus views, but 150 or 160 subscribers.
You would think that those people would
It doesn't
subscribe.
translate for some reason. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really affect me. It's not. I don't really care. But like when I'm looking at the analytics, I'm like, if 10% of the people who viewed my video subscribe, I'd be a way bigger channel.
Yeah.
When it's generally
you
the 10%
definitely
ratio of the opposite direction. I don't know. It's really weird.
I'm actually curious about ours.
Yeah, look at your analytics.
YouTube.
Ours is actually very similar in that we have 79 subscribers. The even enhanced stuff that Dagger did, 343 views on this first one, 125 on the fourth one, 124 and 140.
Yeah.
But then we have 79 on just our promo that Dagger put together.
Right.
It's kind of crazy to have almost the exact number for that. I can't imagine anybody that watched it 79 people that just watched a 23-second promo that Dagger put together, and if you're watching this, Dagger, not very long. I don't know how he does it. I wish I did. He will spend 15 like this. Obviously, this is just my background. I don't know why I'm saying this, like you guys can see it, but my background is just a picture from Arma, and Dagger spent like 5 minutes making small changes to it. He was like, yeah, I put this together in like 2 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't do that in 4 hours.
Right.
You know, he'll completely. He put together when my video for our first operation eventually comes out. I'm waiting on Dagger to text me back about his thoughts on it. But when that video eventually comes out, he put together the 111 SOG presents an ArmaNet in association with ArmaNet Productions.
Right.
It took him like 15 minutes to put it together, and I mean it's quality, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Right.
But he knocks it out. He's really good at what he does.
And since we're talking about YouTube channels, because I actually do have one, but I don't post on there. Last time I posted on was 3 months ago, so I don't post on there anymore because I do live stream now more than anything. I'm thinking do think about grabbing highlights sometimes and just putting it up there, but I never get around to it. But I only have 47 subscribers on there, which is fine for me because I don't upload there anymore. So it's just there now. But the most viewed I've got is it was a year ago. It was just me and Cyphers driving through Malden, and the whole town that we went through in a fucking Marshall was just littered with IEDs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the IEDs that drop JDAM bombs on you if you go near them. And it's got 900 views on it.
922. By the way, you're wrong about that number of subscribers. I don't know where you got that number.
You have 47?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have 47.
What do I have?
He has 48? Is that
48.
40,
Oh my God.
I think he's got 50.
50? Oh, right. Yeah. Wonder what happened.
50, I believe. I don't know, but
As I hear your clickings.
Yeah, I think it's 50.
And then a lot of my most viewed stuff is stuff that I've put up on Reddit, which is just little like couple of second videos, like not even a minute long.
Mm-hmm.
And I like doing those, and I like going back through ops and just seeing like the funny side parts.
Right.
Like, I think my favorite one was like when someone told people that they don't put IEDs off the road, and then not even a second later one blows up one of our vehicles.
I love watching our old ops, but there are times that I watch our old ops in comparison with the team that we have now. And
just
our
cringe?
old ops, a lot of cringing actually, because we weren't as well put together back then. And I remember specific times where somebody would get blown up by an IED or a mine, and it was actually just Dagger attaching a freaking JDAM to their back and blowing it up because they were being stupid. And like you'd go into Zeus, you'd see him stop in game and like checking his loadout, and I would know somebody's about to get blown up. and then the person would just not be keeping up or any number of things, and a huge explosion would go off, and he's like, yeah, I'll be honest, I just attached a JDAM to his back and let it blow up.
Yeah, see, I originally did it just, I don't know why I originally put it on, but I'm sure if you've ever seen any of our ops from the videos or streams or whatever, my now Coop characteristic backpack with the super long antenna on it, it's become a staple of my Arma loadout.
Yeah, I've always been curious about that
Why?
giant fucking antenna.
It's because everyone points it out now, and he's just like, I'm the center of attention.
It's the thing now. It's
Look at me,
you'll never
look at
lose
me.
me.
Look
You'll
at
never.
me.
But
That's
originally,
true.
we had an op, and we were inside of a cave was where we were starting the op, and I just thought it would be funny to wear it because the antenna was taller than the cave we were in, so I thought it was funny. Now, we did like our op, our official op, and it ended, and then we were doing kind of a smaller one with the people who were hanging around. And that was the time where Farsight hit me with lightning 3 times. And because I was talking shit, I was
That
saying,
happens
he was like,
a lot to Cooper.
that's where I'm
happens a
going
lot.
with this. So he struck me with this fucking lightning, and now a bunch of people strike me with lightning, and anytime I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, well, your antenna, man, like you're catching the electricity, dude. You're the highest point. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Well, we kind of are getting Farsight back because anytime Buckfistwine comes into Viking's stream, he tells Viking to shoot him in the toe.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's become a
And-
big meme at the moment.
Yep.
We've got a reaction on our Discord for it with just a toe missing. No.
Tim's made that, didn't he?
I think Tim's made that. I think Tim's made all of ours. Farsight either. Oh God, I'm sorry, guys. It was either Farsight or Tim's.
One of these
it was one of your
the other ones can go
moderators
fuck
in your
themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, both of them get the credit. Both of those guys. Our Discord is kept pretty drama free.
Yeah, like, didn't you guys ban like one person for the first time?
Our
ever?
first person got
Oh
banned.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Because he came in with some really fucked up stuff.
Was it Gidget?
No.
That would make sense.
I probably
that's
would have
good.
let Gidget stay for
Love
a
you,
short
Gidget.
time. No, it was the guy had. I don't know if you remember the movie. Oh shit! Now I can't even remember the name of the movie.
What happens?
You can't remember what happens. That's not good.
No, I've only seen the movie once. I wasn't a big fan. It's got what's that fucking French fried taters.
What the fuck? Am I supposed to get something from that?
Yeah, you are actually. It's the most popular thing. Not yet, sweetheart.
Aw.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Let me.
Anyway.
All right. But anyway, he had the name of that character. I unlocked it for my son to come in. My daughter was coming in. But he had the same name of this guy. And I had been watching him from the time he came in. And
Oh, you
he was
knew?
quiet. Yeah, because I was just like, something's wrong here. And sure enough, he got banned. So
That's nuts.
We won't ask why, because obviously it was something that obviously can't be said on
No, it was very, very, very racist. That's the best.
Okay, it was okay.
That's all I gotta say.
I was just curious of the area, the type of bannable offense it was.
Well, yeah, definite heavy racism. We like to keep our stuff pretty drama free. We don't talk a ton of shit about really anything, because. Look, give everything a chance. If there's something that's bad, I understand, but I don't think that it's anything. Sling Blade, fuck, Sling Blade is the name of the movie.
Sling Blade?
Yeah, it's got Billy Bob Thornton in it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is old as shit.
Very old.
You're showing your age there. You're talking to people that are... Me and Coop are nearly like the same age, I think.
I know,
you're still younger.
And I don't even know if Sling
just
Blade
like
was
years
out.
younger. Like a couple of years. So we're pretty close.
Yeah.
Was Sling Blade out when you guys were born? 96.
Yeah,
I was born.
You
I
were
was alive.
born. You were babies. You were my son's age.
Yeah. We were your sons.
Everyone was a baby at some stage.
No, I'm saying
you were a baby.
then. Yeah, no, then you were babies at that time.
Yes.
But yeah, he came out randomly with just
Farsight, you're
very
an old fart
racist
anyway. I
stuff.
already know this.
I am. I'm
talking
old.
about you,
It's
talking about
9
Farsight.
o'clock.
Farsight's
No.
calling us younglings in the chat.
No, Farsight. How old is Farsight?
He's turning 68 this year.
Farsight, is that true? I'm gonna ask him on this one. Old enough. So yeah,
Farsight-
68. He's
Farsight-
turning 68 this year.
Doesn't look like anything like he sounds. It's the best.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't know why. Dude, I love talking shit to Farsight. It's probably one of my favorite activities, man. It's
Shoot
the best.
your
I will shoot your face
I'm gonna shoot your toe.
right off, dude.
So, there it is. He's already missing one. He'll have 8 after you do that. That's why he's got a limp now.
He lost one in the first World War, right?
Yeah.
Is
I
that what he lost
thought
first?
that was the British occupation of America.
That was the French Revolution, dude.
Civil War for independence.
Yeah.
French and
The
Indian
War of
War?
Independence.
I don't know. One of those.
He watched, you know.
I don't know. It could have been when Canada was being formed too. Like, you know.
To be clear, Farsight, I don't have to worry about you fucking with me, but they have to worry about you fucking with them. So
I'm gonna get struck by lightning regardless.
who's-
I might as well it doesn't change my scenario.
Who's doing the worst here? I'm just being nice. They're insubordinate.
So yeah.
Well, we could gang
Might
up
as
with
well.
Cooper. Cooper's always fun to gang
That's
up
a
on.
wonder.
Everyone
What am I
does
fun to
that.
do?
Gang up on.
I think
Yeah.
we're getting into sex crimes here.
Are you okay? I mean, let's
Let's-
get started.
So let's do this.
All right, I guess we're getting there.
Anyway,
But
we've gone way off track.
we got way off track. Holy shit! Sorry guys, I tend to have that effect on people.
Oh no, dude, this is still probably some of the most structure we've had. You've watched this, you know how this goes. We always end up at some. This is the only stream, and we're not going to do a Viking that we haven't talked about Magic. That we somehow gravitate.
Oh, by the way, I played
did
Magic
ask about Dungeons
the other
and
night.
Dragons.
Don't start.
I did ask about Dungeons and Dragons when you guys were mentioning Magic the last time.
Oh yes, about getting a DM, right?
Yeah, our DM is. My wife kind of fell out of the game. We were having a blast too. It sucks, but we got to find one here that's actually in our state. But we'll figure it out.
What's your address, dude?
online.
What's your SIN number? What's your
What's
credit card
SIN
number?
my
Turn the card over.
let's see. My social security starts with 246.
Oh, that's the American version of a SIN number, right?
It is, yeah, social security.
Yeah, or social insurance.
Yeah, for you guys, I don't know.
Yeah, it
Whoa.
is. It's social insurance number for Canada.
It's fine.
Oh,
Don't freak out.
To the bombs!
what's happening?
Wait, I can get that.
Somebody's defusing a bomb over
Yeah.
there.
No, don't you know what that's? Don't you know what that is?
What is it?
It's if you've ever played Halo 3 ODST.
Oh, well, I know what the beep is, but why? I thought you were saying that we would know why it went off.
No, I know why it went off. It was because someone tagged me in a fucking post on Twitter.
Fucking asshole. Sounds like an idiot. It was me. So, to further conversation.
Yes.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Why do you say that with a question mark?
So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7. The remake.
Oh,
Look,
I didn't know about this.
Wait, what?
I didn't know they were doing a remake.
Oh my god.
Okay.
To be fair, I'm not the biggest fan in Final Fantasy.
No.
All right, Viking, you're uninvited to this chat.
Yeah.
Cooper and I are going to continue.
Okay, so, like, a long time ago, to put in perspective, so, like, what was it, 2014? E3?
When they first started talking about it?
Yeah.
2013, 2014, yeah.
So
no, hold on.
2012?
Hold on. It's got to be before that because I was still in the military.
Viking, to put in perspective, about 1 billion fucking years ago, when Farsight was born, they started talking about doing the remake of Final Fantasy VII. And Final Fantasy VII is probably the most universally loved of the Final Fantasies. And it's just a big fucking game. And they were talking about it being whatever remake, and they showed like a really brief trailer that kind of got everyone super hard. It was basically just like the main dude walking by with his really iconic sword, and they're like, "Oh my god, Final Fantasy!" But that was it for like literally 5 years.
That was in 2015. The initial announcement was in 2011.
So 2011, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
So 2011, they said, "Hey, we're doing this," and then 4 years later, they had like a 10-second teaser.
Yeah.
And then another 4 years later, they've finally shown us an actual trailer for the game. Now we're gonna watch the trailer, and you're gonna see me and Reaver get all giddy about it, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this looks all right," but every time I see Aerith, I just like want to get all bubbly and then cry myself to sleep. So
I'm gonna be in the fetal position over that way,
dude. Just imagine
it's
like when people are saying the Lion King, they're redoing the Lion King. You know how fucking brutal that's gonna be in like live action like that.
I can't imagine. Oh god,
it's gonna be so fucking heartbreaking.
Watching that scene as an adult.
I know,
makes
dude.
me sad.
I'm a grown ass man, and I'm gonna be sad as fuck. Like I'm not ashamed to admit it. But the same thing's gonna happen here. Now watch on 4K Aerith. The thing that's gonna happen. The game came out 20 fucking years ago. It's not a spoiler. Watching that happen.
I was about to say, if somebody goes, "Well, thanks for spoiling it."
Yeah, thanks for spoiling it, you fucker.
Fucking.
Well, go back 22 years.
Did you want to watch the gameplay trailer?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, we wanted to watch the trailer. I put it in the chat of the watch together.
It's ready.
Is that
so
it?
am I. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. It's
you
popped
ready?
up for me.
You got your butt cheeks puckered up?
Oh, I got my tear ducts ready to go.
Alright, you can play whenever you want.
All right, let's do. Is it up?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it.
I still don't see why we brought a Shinra soldier along. No way he'd throw all that away for us. What's his
It looks so
name,
good
anyway?
too.
Cloud
It really does.
And he says it's former soldier.
Looks like
Look,
they grabbed
heavy security
whatever
like
they
this, you
used
want a
for
professional.
15.
Probably the same engine.
Most likely. Oh,
I'll
God.
bear it.
We're paying
Wigs,
maybe not
and,
15.
Biggs and Wedge.
best be worth it.
Look, I don't care about your politics.
That sword. They were selling those at Comic-Con, life-size swords at that.
Oh, I believe it.
They were only $400, which actually is not that bad.
At all.
It was pretty good
Why didn't you get one?
because they're still $400.
No. I do love that they have the same voice actors that were in
Doing this for the planet. Same
Advent
as us.
Children.
Not
Yeah.
interested.
Wedge.
Are you sure they just didn't grab the same voice lines?
No, it's different. It's completely redone. Like even the fighting mechanic isn't the same. Like it's like Resident Evil 2 where they redone it from the ground up.
I don't know how. I'm gonna have to see how much I enjoy this. I love turn-based
So do I. But it was really funny because I saw this tweet and it was like, hey, for all of you that are complaining that it's not turn-based, if you want to play a turn-based Final Fantasy VII, there's this really cool game called Final Fantasy VII that you can play.
And I get that. I do. But I'm going to miss it.
Let's move.
Me too. Me too.
A lot of people, they want to get into the place where not a lot of people like the turn-based. A lot more people don't like turn-based.
Okay,
Then,
but
yeah.
that actually wasn't the trailer that I wanted to watch, actually.
Well, that's the one you put into chat.
I know, I fucked up. One second.
He did fuck up.
You know the trailer that I'm talking about, right?
I think so. I've seen the trailer we just watched. I have not seen the trailer that,
Are you
that you were
playing for
talking
State
about.
of Play?
One sec. There's a point in the trailer that I have to... No, it's not the State of Play. Is it? No. One sec. It is... Here it is. It was the one that came before the one we just watched. It was the teaser trailer. Oh, God. And this is the one that you're going to be like, no, dude, Aerith, no, please. It's more of like a cinematic trailer, so I put it in the chat, Mike.
Yeah, there it is.
Just let me, fix this up. Because someone still doesn't know how to use Watch Together.
Can I hit play now?
No, not yet. Okay, now go.
This is why you run that shit and I do the intros. That's why that happens.
Yeah, I do everything else in this game. Thing.
Okay, I'll lay down with you in a minute, okay?
Anyway.
Give me just a minute. You go ahead and lay down.
Yeah, just
Go ahead and turn the TV off, or the light off.
Him talk to his kids quickly so that I can...
Sorry.
No, you're good. You ready?
I'm ready.
I just realized what fast I said in chat, sorry.
Halt! Hands up!
Have fun.
I'm here for you to help take the load off your shoulders.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough.
It's not playing for
Are
me.
you okay?
Why is it not playing for me?
It's not?
No.
Where did it stop?
At 0-1.
Wait, I put it back. If I hit play now, did it just start?
It's going now, yeah. There we go.
So this is like, you seen the little blue letters now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Technical
And
difficulty.
a certain flower girl,
Fucking fuck.
right? Look how good that looks. Like,
Hands
It
up!
looks great.
gives me so much more time in like...
Have fun.
I'm here for you to help take the load off your shoulders.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Here. This is for you.
A flower? Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud.
There he is.
Just imagine, those sections with like the demon wall, or getting Vincent for the first time again, or Yuffie.
Yiffy?
I call her Yuffie. But all of that, but with the graphics that we've got today, I can't explain how excited I am. I almost bought a PS4 for because I used to have one a while back.
Right.
I almost bought a PS4 for the Spider-Man game.
It was a
that
good
they
game.
have.
It was really good.
I finished
It
that
looked
in a day.
amazing. Did you? But I decided I wasn't going to get it. And I ended up getting the Xbox One
Yikes.
X again, which I'm actually really happy that I did.
I just have them both.
But, and I used to have both. I got rid of my PS4 and my Xbox One. We were moving. I had my PC. I wasn't playing them. And I was like, look, I'm going to get rid of these and just not have them anymore. And then I ended up getting the Xbox for Red Dead Redemption 2 is why I actually bought it. But I'm definitely going to get a PS4 for this game alone.
It's going to be so, man, and I just want to see...
You are literally, hang on, why did you just go so dark?
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not in... Oh, God, I went really dark.
Yeah,
Let me
like pitch
fix
black.
that. Let me fix that. Sorry.
Do you not have one of these really snazzy... Me and Viking both have the camera with the ring light built into it.
No, you know what? Mine doesn't, but this should be fixed now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, you look good. I mean, it's not as good as us, but I mean, it's okay.
I mean, I'm never going to look at it as good as you guys. That's
You know how
that's
humble
just
this
how
guy
that
is.
is.
I would have told somebody to go fuck themselves if they said that to me.
Nah, no need for me to say all that.
You know, you're in your head, you're like, nah, you idiots. I know.
Yeah. But,
Wait.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering why we weren't going to talk about magic today, Coop. That's all I wanted to know.
Because we
Nobody wants to
always
talk
do.
about
We
magic.
always
Because we're really into it.
It's like, I don't think
Buddy.
we've gone a single podcast without talking about Sea of Thieves and magic. We've already touched Sea of Thieves a few times already.
We have. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, maybe we can not talk about magic, but I mean, if we're here...
Does Reaver play magic?
I don't. I never really got into the card games. I actually only just got into tabletop games in general.
Oh.
Right before I discovered Critical Role, I was really considering playing Dungeons and Dragons. I had a few friends that played it, and my wife played it quite a bit when she was younger in college. And I had never really played it, but I had an interest in it, and then I just kind of dove feet first into that. I think my wife, if not my wife, an old friend of hers used to play Magic a lot, and I tried to get into it, but the only card game I ever really, quote-unquote, got into was the Dragon Ball Z card game.
There's a Dragon Ball Z card game?
Yes,
There is.
You guys both had the same giggle, smile, dumbass grin on your face reaction. You guys both reacted the exact same way, like, yeah, there is.
It was, for me, it was nostalgia. I had a ton of those cards. I spent way too much money on that stuff.
That's the big
and
problem
I never
with
really
Magic.
played. Yeah, I never really played. And I ended up selling them off for way less than I spent. But that was the only card game that I got into, and I never really got deep into it.
Right.
And I couldn't get into Magic, mostly because the people that played Magic at the college I went to were people that I didn't really
Like.
I got along with everybody, especially in high school, but in college as well. I had, I brought together popular people and just outcasts. And then there was the Magic the Gathering group that was way outcast, that I couldn't even be on the level of talking to because I had nothing in common with them.
That was the long answer. The short answer is, yeah, he didn't like them.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's not that I didn't like them. I couldn't like them because I had no chance.
They're unlikable.
Who plays Standard, which is the 60 cards?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which has got a lot more rules than what I do, which I play Commander, which is 100 cards.
Right.
And I got my new deck done the other day, Coop.
Which one is that?
The one where it's a new life gain deck that I built.
Oh, yeah, the one we talked about like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I put that together and I played it on Friday night.
Was it as AIDS as we thought it was going to be?
Actually, people hated me because I was too threatening. Once I played a card on the field, they knew what card was coming next. And they just had to kill me that turn. Otherwise, I would have won the game. And I had multiple cards on the field that could have won me the game. But because they all focused me, this one dude had a mono green commander deck, summoned 6 monsters, and they all did anywhere between 10 and 20 damage per attack. So it was
You
just
eating
like,
glass over there?
No, and I apologize. I'm just.
it was literal cancer for me because I like had these 2 cards on the field. It's like I could win this game, but then they killed me, and I was like, really?
Yeah, that's what happens. Like when we play standard, I've got a buddy who he plays this like super aggressive aggro gate deck.
Yeah.
And if you don't take him out of the game within like 4 turns, it's impossible to win. And it's not like he destroys your weight away. It's just by turn 6, he's got like 15 monsters, and there's just fucking nothing you can do. So
And that's the same with me. I was like, I don't have many monsters on. I had like 2 monsters on the field, but I had like shitload of land and a shitload of mana rocks for days. So I could use big spells. Like I was countering people's spells and shit that were targeting me. This one dude had one where it was like, I'm gonna activate this guy's ability. I countered that, then he tried to counter my spell, but then I countered his spell, so he tried to counter. We did 4 cards of countering each spell before I stopped him from winning the game.
That's actually part of the reason I couldn't get into it. I had a few Magic the Gathering cards. I think I bought like a starter pack because I was curious about the game.
right.
When I was in my teen years, so 5-10
Back
years
when
ago.
back when the world was black and white.
It was all black and white, and I couldn't. There was not. Oh God, I'm about to really
Age
give my
yourself,
age
brother.
away. At the time, there was no easy access to the internet. This didn't exist. It was a Nokia flip phone, and I didn't even have one of those. So and the rules weren't easily accessible without going to like a comic shop.
Going to the fucking library using the little card
the
system to find his book.
Yeah, no, for real. But so there was this barrier to entry for me at that time, and I just never got past it.
It is hard though. Like that is the biggest barrier for Magic is that like me and Vike have talked about it before on the podcast. Is it's like there's a lot of rules that are hard to know as a whole, and there's a fuckload of rules. But there are cards that just straight up break the rules. Like there's a card that says like a example that I used last week is like when you're playing standard, there's only certain cards you're allowed to play. But I have a card that says you can use an artifact from anywhere in Magic. Like it could be a card from 20 years ago that's not illegal anymore, but I'm allowed to bring it in. Like I can just break that rule because my card says I'm allowed.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like
the-
that makes it complicated.
With standard, there's also like the rule is like cards that are like 20 years old aren't allowed to be used. Like there is so many rules about that, and that's what I hate about standard. Standard is if it's not in date, it's not allowed. Like, but with Commander, you kind of get away with it.
Well, Commander's modern, right? There's still a cutoff at some point.
Yeah,
right?
there's this cutoff, but the way we just play because like you can use it. Like it's like
Reaver, to make this make sense, because it probably doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Basically, in standard, cards that came out within the last 2 years are illegal, and every like 3 to 5 months, whatever's the oldest gets booted out, and another set comes in, and it moves forward. So at some point, let's say you bought a whole bunch of cards and you had a big deck right now. 2.5 years from now, you can't use those cards anymore.
Ow.
Yeah.
So that's what standard is.
It's smart on the people that make the game. I mean,
Then
it's
you gotta
smart
start
on
over.
them because then you have to pretty much start over, or
And then when a tournament comes out,
continue buying.
when a tournament comes out, that person that won the tournament that year might have to use something different coming up because they might have the same deck, and they're like, if I take this deck, I'll win again.
But of course there's the money business reason as to why, but there's another portion as to why, like the things that Vikings talking about is basically because they're allowed to use a wide variety of cards, they can basically make a stacked deck of busted ass cards that everybody basically within turn 3 somebody's gonna fucking win or whatever. Like there's a lot of broken stuff. Whereas because in standard they put them in these, they're called blocks. And those blocks are good at fighting each other and countering each other. So there's no set deck that you can make that can't be countered by something else in your set. Right. Which is why, so if you're playing a deck from 4 years ago, the standard cards aren't equipped to deal with those anymore.
Gotcha.
So that's part of the reason why as well, so that like if someone's playing a deck from 5 years ago, even if you've got new cards and it's the best deck you can make in Standard, it might lose because there's no counters, and that's why they kind of leave it in these block chunks. It was originally for tournament play, basically for like, that's why it was standardized legal play.
So the same person's not winning every single year, you know.
Exactly.
Anybody coming in could have a chance with it because...
Well, exactly. And so even the best Magic player in the world who plays in a Standard tournament is kind of at the same... Of course, he knows how to build decks better and he's a better player, but at least sort of levels that playing field and makes it so that his deck that was like unbeatable 3 years ago, he can't just walk in every day and muck everybody with it.
Right.
It levels the playing... That's why they call it Standard, is because that's the standard of tournament play, basically.
Right.
I don't know what it's like.
No, that makes sense.
I don't know the limit on Commander as much, because the way we play, we just play whatever cards are out there. You can just add it into your deck as long as it's not like... We just have home rules. Like, because it's like, well, we're just here for fun. Like, we just don't care.
Sure.
Some people get a bit salty because, like, they're just like, well, this card's broken as fuck. But, like, you guys came up with the rules and I'm here to play. That's all. Like, that's it.
So to answer your question, every card from 2003 and forward is called Modern.
Gotcha.
So, but for Standard, it's like 2 years, basically.
Yeah. So... All Cooper's cards are worthless now.
Right.
Well, I have a big box of cards that, like, literally like a box of cards that are, but they're not though, because what happens is like for me, I play Standard, so I've got good cards, but then they come out of Standard, so I don't really play them. But then someone like Viking who plays Modern might want these cards. So actually, when stuff goes out, and Commander is actually, I don't know if you know this, Mike, but Commander is actually more prevalent and is bigger in the Magic community than Standard, probably for the same reasons that you were just saying, because it's harder and more expensive. So when those cards go out of Standard, their value actually either stays the same or actually slightly boosts up for the good cards, because they know that now the Commander people want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
With Commander...
But the shit cards drop to the floor.
All the cards from 2003 onward to now is allowed, where Standard isn't. Standard, the difference between Standard and Commander, if anyone doesn't know, Standard is you can have a max of 4 of the same card.
Yep.
Except for land, you can have as much land as you want, but you can only have 4 of the same card.
But even your lands, they can only have 4 of the same art.
Yeah.
You can't have like 8 mountains that have the same art on it.
Yeah, you have to have different art styles.
So let's say you have 8, you'd have to have 2 different arts. Like you can have 4 of the same art for lands.
Yeah. You can't have the same art, which makes sense. With the art, we're talking about the actual picture on the card. And then with Commander, it's 100 cards. You can have as much land as you want, but you can only have 1 of this card for each monster, spell, all that. So you can only have 1 of them. You can't have they can have the same abilities, but they can't be the same creature. If that makes sense. So I have
to break it down super simply, let's just say he's got 20 land cards. He's going to have 80 unique cards in his deck. Whereas if I have 20 land cards, I could have in the other 40 cards, because there are less cards, I could have 10 cards.
Gotcha.
And have multiples of 4 of them, and only have 10 actual unique cards, whereas he's got to have 80 for the same thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder for me to play because I can't, my combos, I have to put multiple combos in there. I can't just have the same combo for the deck. I have to put like cards in there that are like searching, but then I have to get to those search cards.
Right.
You know.
Whereas in Standard, what you can do is, a lot of the time in Standard play, what you do is, and I don't know, I think it's similar in Commander, but in Commander you have a few of them, but in Standard you basically build your deck around a win condition, where you basically are like, this is how I win, and I'm building my deck to get to that win condition, which is why you'll have 4, like, for example, he's got a card that searches. He has 1 in his deck, whereas I'll put 4 because I really want what that is. And I might have 3 different cards and 4 up. So I've got 12 cards that do one function because I win by pulling this card, basically. Or whatever. Whereas he needs to be a lot more creative with how that happens.
So, like, one of my ways of winning is a loop, which is I gain a life, my opponents lose a life, and then another card, which is my opponent lost a life, so I gain a life. So it just loops until I win. There's also another one where if I have this monster on the field and I have above 40 life points, when it gets around to my turn, I win. Because
That's
40
such
life
an
points.
AIDS card. I fucking hate that.
40 life is the max you can get in Commander. In well, you start off with, but you can have more. With standard, you can only have 20. So because you've got less cards, it's quicker. Commander, it's a bit longer. The games in Commander, we can have about, I think it's up to like 6 people is like probably the preferred amount of people you can play with. Because otherwise it's going to take hours and hours to play. We played one game with 8 people one time. It took us 5 hours to finish the game.
And to put in perspective, if you're doing a standard tournament, 45 minutes is the cap, and once you hit 45 minutes, they go, okay, whoever is winning in the next 5 turns, the game's over.
Yeah.
So it's like, so they cap out at 45 minutes, whereas a Commander game might take hours.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's just like, and like this cards that I have, like I think 4 ways of winning in my deck, and it's
all
all
have
based,
one.
yeah, where I base around life gain in this deck. So if I gain life, it's doing stuff on my board. And with Commander, you have 99 cards in your deck, and 1 card which is the Commander card. This gets complicated because Commander cards can only be certain types of cards.
Right.
And at the top, there's obviously the mana of like how much mana you need to summon the monster onto the field. That Commander with those colors are the only colors you can have in that deck. You can't have, say, if I have a green character or green creature as my Commander, I can only have green cards in my deck. I can't have anything else. I can't even have cards that say you add a green and a blue to your field because that's got blue in it.
Oh, really? You can't do that?
You have to, if it has the blue symbol, you can't have it. So it's like, it has to be all green.
See, that's weird. I didn't know that because in Standard, you can kind of break that. So, like, I'll have, like, one character that is, like, a red, green, blue, but it only needs 1 blue. So what I'll do is I'll have some lands that... or so like I don't have any lands that can do.
You can have a blue or a green.
It'll be like this is a red and a blue or whatever, so I can kind of use that for the blue. But my whole deck is whatever red black.
Yeah.
But I would need that 1 mana to be able to summon that guy. I didn't know you couldn't.
No, you couldn't
flip
even
it
do
like that.
So you can't.
Weird.
You can't. It has to be all the same colors. You can't do. I can't have. Say I'm doing. So my new deck is blue, white, black. If I find a character that's black, white, and say red, I can't have that in there because there's no red in it.
Weird.
So you have to have those colors. It's annoying because
Reaver, it sounded like you had a question sort of halfway through there. Were you about to ask something?
No, I was actually saying that I'm kind of glad for the barrier for entry for this particular game, not because it doesn't sound interesting, because it actually really does. But because I know if I got into like,
you'd get
Magic,
hardcore and
I
go
would
broke.
get hardcore and my wife would kick me out and
So
I would have to build my house out of card boxes because my cards would have to be protected.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you buy sleeves. Like
That's which also costs $10 a box or whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, because standard is 60. He only needs 60 sleeves where I need 100, so I've got to buy more sleeves.
But know what's fucking bullshit? They sell the sleeves in 40s.
Yeah.
Good God.
On purpose, because they know that if you've got a standard deck, you've got to buy 2, and if you've got a commander deck, you have to buy 3, and you always have extra sleeves. It's bullshit.
Gotta love it.
Oh no, I found a place where I can buy 100 sleeves now.
Oh, can you?
Nice.
Yeah, so it makes it so much easier. Coop, we need to do a game where it's just me versus you, just with the webcams, nothing else. Just like, I have 2 webcams, so I can put one on.
So do I.
I could put one on my field.
Cards and then one at us, dude. We'll do a we'll do.
But you need to have commander deck because I don't actually have any more I have 1 standard deck.
Well, use it.
Good luck.
Good luck, dude. But we should start winding down.
Yeah, we should.
Reaver, is there anything you want to talk about, address, plug, talk about?
No, thanks for having me on the show. It's always a blast talking to you guys out of the podcast, and it's even more fun coming on the podcast and chatting with you guys. So
And
One of these days we'll go on yours and bring you
We're
out
gonna,
here.
we're gonna have.
you're always welcome.
I'm gonna organise to have Dagger come on a separate show with us as well, because obviously we've got one. We need the other person
Yeah,
too.
well,
He's
I
we
mean,
need
you
the
know,
co-host. We need to make it fair. We can't just select Reaver because he's the best one. Because
If you ever wanna, bring me back on the show, just let me know, and I'm more than happy
it's
to.
great having. It's great
I don't
having
even
people.
have to be a guest. I can just chit chat with you guys.
It's
for
great having a person
2
come
hours.
on, another perspective, because I miss Gory. I miss Gory so much.
Yeah.
Because Gory is with us. He's the oldest one out of all us, so he's got
Yeah.
more experience in the gaming industry than we do.
Well, and he kind of has me and Viking are pretty similar as far as people, and he was kind of a little different. So he had some opposing views, which in this sort of scenario is nice to have because we can kind of go back and forth. Whereas Viking and I would be like, "That's good" or "That's dope." We kind of agree on a lot, which is good as people. But when you're trying to debate a topic and you agree on everything, it's not really.
It's hard to play devil's advocate when you both
agree.
Absolutely love
So
it.
I'm pretty keen to get Gory back. So Reaver, thank you so much for coming again, guys.
Thank you,
Go
guys.
check out the ArmaNet podcast.
For sure.
If you play Arma, check out the 11th Sog.
What would you like me to link here? The YouTube, or do you want me to put the site that they come up on?
For ArmaNet Podcast?
Yeah.
You know what? Link them to the ArmaNet Podcast website, which is...
Because that's I didn't know you had a YouTube channel until the other day. I've always listened to it on the website.
And the YouTube is actually... So Dagger and I discussed a long time ago when we first came back, and we had been talking about it for about a month and a half, coming back and rebuilding ArmaNet again. But we had discussed doing other media, and the YouTube is definitely no link.
Yeah,
Should I delete
because
that?
because
yeah,
you're not
no,
a
here.
moderator or anything, so you can't.
Yeah,
help it.
no.
Put it in the Discord
I'm gonna
chat,
be
I'll
dark.
post it.
Yeah, I'm throwing it in your Discord.
So,
now.
is what you're saying is that there's going to be more YouTube content in the future? Is that what you're hinting at here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, I'm finishing up an edit of all of our people that recorded for our first 111 SOG.
I'll link them both then. You know what?
Mission.
I'll put the website and your YouTube
Sure.
in there. I'll just put them both.
Yeah, and we're going to throw that up. But yeah, there's definitely going to be other media. We're going to potentially start doing streaming our recordings through it. We're not 100% sure yet. We're still building a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
and
great.
you wanted to find out how I do it for us, so this is a perfect way for you to realize how I do it, which is
yeah, and I see
can
how
run
you guys
through
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's taking stuff from us, dude. But he's looking at the bottom of the barrel.
Copyright,
Yeah, copyright.
Trademark.
trademark, everything. No, but it was great having you here because we need another voice sometimes because we get.
Yeah.
To
I mean,
play
I
with-
do like just having Mike and I, but it is good having people come on periodically as well.
And like I said, we'll get Dagger on it. Hopefully, the next show would be great. So that we have
Yeah,
both
I'm
of you
sure he'd
guys.
love to get on.
Yeah, I've heard he wanted to. It was sad that he was unavailable tonight, but it was good. To
Yeah,
have him.
he's pretty upset about it. Where he's at, Dagger. When you're watching this, sorry, buddy. I know he's meeting new people and having fun with that. But yeah, he's pretty busy today. But
We'll find time
when
for
you
him.
guys get him
we'll
on,
definitely
get him
find
on
time
for
and try
sure.
to get him on.
He's a blast.
He's the 60% of ArmaNet, right?
He's that top 60%.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, no, he does a lot, not just for ArmaNet, but for the community and
Yep. Well, you do.
everything,
I mean,
so.
I know we're joking around, but you do as well, and we really do appreciate it. As we're part, Viking and I are more of the community, I guess. So we speak for the community. I now bestow that power onto myself, and we thank
I'm
you
just
for
gonna
what
just-
you've been. Viking is turning away.
No, and we're just happy to do it. We're happy to bring the content that we can to the community itself. That's really the reason.
I think your
that we do
explanation
it,
was the
and-
best. Is that you're showing the community to the community, and I think that's a good way of explaining it. And I think that as the community, we appreciate it.
And I'm glad that BI is recognizing, you guys as a podcast for Armor.
Yep.
Because you got Homesick on there the other day. Couple of days. What was the last couple episodes? It was there for one of them. You interviewed him.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are working on getting him hopefully back onto the show again. Same with a couple of other people that I've like streamers. I've heard that you've had a few streamers on as well that obviously represent the media version of Armor.
Oh yeah. I know we had Mike 1 in our first iteration. We had Mike 1 for a while. We had him on an episode, and that was really fun. But BI has been super supportive since we started, and we really appreciate that support from BI and
free plebs out there. That's Bohemian Interactive, the people who make Arma. For you that don't know,
sorry, plebs.
Bohemian Interactive.
Yeah, we know what it is, but just for the layman out there,
Bohemia has been really good to us, and we're humbled by just everything. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm just Joe Blow from North Carolina, so and people listen to my voice for some reason. So,
oh yeah, I think we're all in that sort of why the fuck do people care what I say? But...
Who cares about what I'm talking about right now? But,
we do, so that's why you're here.
Yeah, we can. You guys are great. Once you guys see how Dagger is on our show, you'll see why we get along with these two really well.
Yeah.
Dagger's kind of more serious than you, but he's actually a really great guy.
Now I gotta be clear about this. Dagger is more serious in more public situations, but he is not. We are equally not serious. I mean, your mama jokes that pass between the two of us, or the dick jokes that get passed around. We were talking about a potential. Kind of. So nice. I'm going to explain to you guys, the people at home. Sorry, it's about to get dark, guys. Dagger and I were talking about a potential new emblem that we were going to use. And Dagger, being Dagger, was like, oh, I found the perfect one. And he sent me this. He said, this is perfect. It really gets the seriousness. It gets everything. And he sent me that.
I'm not putting that up. I'm not putting that up.
Definitely don't put that up.
No,
but,
definitely not.
For you at home, it's a penis Halloween costume. Where your head is inside of the head.
So that's the amount of seriousness that goes on for Dagger and I. But he's a really good dude. You guys are gonna enjoy him, and he's gonna enjoy being on the show. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So
you guys are a blast.
Yep, and thank you for coming on. We are gonna wrap it up here, guys. If you guys are watching this later on YouTube, thanks for watching. Reaver, again, thank you for being here. If you guys want to hop on over to Vikings channel and watch some more of the stuff that he does, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. The links to the podcast website, the podcast, the ArmaNet Discord, the ArmaNet YouTube, and Vikings Twitch channel will all be down below in a big block of fucking URLs that you can click on whatever you want to do. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you are watching it on YouTube in the future version. So if you see anything else in the channel you can throw a like on there as well. And subscribe if you want to see more. It really helps me out. I really do appreciate it. Same thing with these guys. You go over there and watch / whatever it is on their platforms. I'm sure they'll fucking appreciate it as well.
Yeah.
So I'll see you guys in the next video, next stream, next podcast, next whatever bullshit we're doing. And I hope you guys all have a good day. And thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Later, skaters.